a peaceful territory at the very least. I'm not saying nation. So I don't think the U.S. would be behind that. I think Israel went rogue, thinking, that we could keep all of it.
Let me rephrase it maybe in a more realistic way that the US, I believe, has factions within it, right? And there are factions that are super Israeli aligned, and they are the less rational.
I would go with I would definitely say that.
So I think that's probably where we meet in the middle, that the behavior Israel is a symptom of the obsessive Zionist aligned American establishment, and behind the scenes there is probably a faction in the US who would rather work nicely with China, make the trade routes happen, and operate in a more multipolar way. And I think that is expressed in the contradictory statements even recently of Trump. So we want to be friends with China. He's always talking out outside, both sides of his mouth. And at the same time, we are seeing Europe already now, I just mentioned, softening towards China as well. And all of these people work together. Europe, America, blah, blah, blah. All of these plans go in concert together.
Everybody. Black girls on the stage. That's amazing. I love the name. Gildas got destroyed for several hours last night.
Please.
You lost debates to about 12 different people within about a 4-hour period. Amazing.
That is a mischaracterization. Gildas is always here to speak up on what I believe in, and you will have 8 people argue against me, but I can't argue against 8 people at the same time.
Just to hold on. I just want to recap for people that missed it. Gildas spent 4 hours trying to convince people that capitalism was incompatible was his words, with capitalism. Capitalism and Christianity are incompatible according to Gildas. And then when it was broken down to Gildas, that all of the advocates for capitalism, from School of Salamanca to Adam Smith to Karl Menger and a lot of the Austrian economists, Adam Smith himself, all devout Christians, and many of them were Catholics as well. He couldn't wrap his head around any of this stuff. And then after he lost that debate, then he went into something about Aristotle that nobody knew what the fuck he was talking about. Anyways, Gildas, it was definitely entertaining.
Well, I thank you for giving me a platform. And I'll always ascribe to the notion that capitalism and Christianity do not need one another for either idea to be understood. Christianity is a belief in mythology. Capitalism is an idea that believes in the rationalism of humankind. If I can make it very brief, you can be an atheist, you can be a Christian, and ascribe to capitalism, but capitalism does not need your Christianity in order to grow.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree.
Hold on. I don't want to relitigate the argument that you made last night that you got embarrassed in, but I do want to say thank you to Matt Cool, who opened a room yesterday. Matt, can you tell people what the house is that you opened that room in, so people can join it? I think it was the best room that's been on Clubhouse this entire year.
Wow, that's some pretty good comments.
Let's go, Matt.
Matt.
Well, I call him Mojo, MAGA Mojo at this point. He's definitely showing his colors over there, and I appreciate it. I hope you do drop in more, Mojo. You asked some very good questions. Actually, the best questions I've ever heard in my house, maybe let alone on the app. So that's always positive. My house is President Trump. It's pretty straightforward. I can, with your permission, I could drop a link, Mojo, in the chat if you want.
Yeah, please do. I think people should join that. I think that house set a new standard for the quality of conversation. And like all bullshit aside, yes, there was the standard bickering and talking over each other, but there was also several hours of like real good back and forth. I actually think I genuinely believe it's the best room that's happened all year long.
Let me point out that is the flow. Usually it's about 4 hours of pretty good like combo back and forth, and then it goes into the transitions into the late night. You've had those here, or at least in healthy debates. You've had that flow before, but yeah, it's usually 4 or 5 hours, and then I hear about all the craziness the next day for the next 5 hours. So yeah, they are really long rooms, by the way. So thanks again.
Yeah, no, it kept me up till 4 a.m. So fuck you for that. But it was very entertaining.
Roger, do I have to call you Mojo now? This is
I don't.
Mojo Alagata.
Yeah.
Is that for real?
Duolingo told me that this means it translates in Spanish to I make the kitty wet, but
Oh my God, bro.
I don't know if that's entirely true because all of the women of Hispanic descent say that that's not what it translates into.
No.
So I want a refund from Duolingo. But no, I don't go by Roger anymore because Roger was removed from the app by the app founders.
Oh, dude, that's not how it works on here. Like I've had this account for over a year. People have probably just gotten used to me, so I don't get kicked off anymore. But with that being said, you can use like pretty much the identical name. They don't kick you off.
Well, I didn't want to try because what I can say is that when they banned me, it was a device level ban because they also banned my burner account that I followed like 3 people and nobody followed me, and that one got booted as well.
So wait, so if you use a burner on a separate device?
No, it was on the same device. If I tried to log into it from that device, I couldn't log in even on the burner from that device.
What was the message they gave you when you tried?
The account didn't exist.
Political dissident.
So if you tried to form a new I got a device banned on the same device I'm using now. About 3 years ago. So it used to be the tactics were different. First, I had to get a VPN. You could not use the same IP address. Then I would have to use a different. I'd have to get a different phone number and then create a new profile, and it would be rather identical to the new one. But then they stopped doing even the IP ban probably like a year and a half ago. And so it just literally, I don't have to use a VPN. I would just change the burner number.
Well, hold on. From what I've heard from some of the tech dorks that are on here, is that they have an expiration date on the Mac ban that they do, and so once that expires, you could use that device again. That's what I.
Well, I've been using the same device this whole 3 years.
Please, Pepe, let me ask this question to Mojo. Is it something you said, Mojo?
It was a room title that got me banned.
It was a room title. Okay, all right, go ahead, Pepe.
So, Mojo, if I don't call you the other name,
You can call me whatever you like.
they won't find you, right?
No,
Mojo?
they know I'm on here, but you can call me whatever you'd like.
Just like they know I'm on here.
I want to
What
call
was the room title? What
I
was
want to
the room
call you
title?
Mojo Alagata.
There you go.
What was the room title?
Well, I'm not going to repeat the room title. All I can say is that it had a.
Did it have the N-word in it?
Nope, it had a person's name in it.
Oh, if you put
Why do you make it personal?
that was something that would get my account clipped. Is if you put it, not just a real name, but even a username in a title.
That's correct. It was a username.
Yeah, you get your account clipped for that.
Okay.
Mojo, you're being
Well, if you
screened
make
at
a
the
room
moment.
that says,
Just so you know.
Yeah.
I
No,
hate
hold on. Can I just say this? We have to accept the fact that these rooms get streamed. The app has decided that they want to allow people to do that. This is why they've given them the ability to do it. But I also want to say that the person that is streaming has done some good things recently and streaming some pretty vile content that will now live on the interwebs forever. And so I've actually kind of changed my position. I still don't like the fact that he doesn't appreciate the idea of consent, but now that the terms of service endorse streaming these things, then he can go ahead and do it, and we just have to accept that, this is the way it is. But I actually thank him, because there are some rooms that he has streamed, some content that he's streamed, that actually have people talking about things that are not just illegal, but can get you years and years, but decades of jail time. So I want to just thank him for that. I think we should recognize when people are using things that we find annoying to do good. It's it's positive.
Does this guy so happen to be from Chicago?
Yes, he does.
So, there was a guy from Chicago on this app. He would stream me into his rooms. And, I actually got people who would come into my rooms, and because they heard him on other platforms. Now, I personally did not care that somebody was streaming my rooms. That other people I can absolutely understand, but like I created like really toxic spaces, and for my own entertainment, and I truly didn't give a shit that it was being streamed. Interesting.
Well, I think the reason why I've always been against it, and I've had the conversation with this individual, is that you have a different type of conversation on this app when replays are not on. Some people, like people in this room today, if they know it's streaming, they don't want to be streamed, so they won't come to the stage at all. Some people won't go to stages where replays are on, and so violating that, that is just weird, because the reality is the best rooms that have ever happened on this app were rooms where the replays were off, because people felt that they could speak more freely. And so when one person violates everybody's,
isn't the
desires,
recording everything?
Gildas, way to miss the point. You can be assured that the app does, but the app's not streaming it, the app's not repurposing it, the app's not doing any of those things. But again, this is the world that we live in now. The rules allow for people to come in anonymously, and the anonymous people can open up their microphone. They could stream this content wherever they choose to.
He's not anonymous, to be fair. We do.
Say what you mean.
Here's the thing. There's nothing we can do to change it, so people need to just learn to live with it. And if you don't like the fact that somebody is streaming, you probably shouldn't talk in any of these rooms, because from what I've been sent links on, it looks like he's recording many of the rooms. So any room that you're going into, he's probably streaming.
Well, like when I told you like maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago that I published a book and I was going to tell you in the room, and you were like, no, don't do that, hold off on that, I'll read the book or whatever, and I'll hit you in the back channel. What's the difference, man? Like, they're going to know who I am.
Well, here's the difference. Here's the difference. First of all, you can do whatever you want. My guidance to you was that you use the name Gildas, and the book is under a different name. And if you want that name out there, then go ahead, talk about it. That's your business. I was just, as a friend, suggesting that that's probably a bad idea if you're looking to conceal your identity.
Gildas, I would say this: a lot of us, somebody like me, I'm absolutely identifiable just because I don't use a VPN anymore when I come on here. Anything I say, if it crosses legal boundaries, I'm not getting away. Now, when it comes to people,
Well, my question,
in particular, I'm going to be.
Is, Pepe, like, if I told you guys my full name, am I doxable at this point? Like, would that mean I would lose my job? After everything you've heard me say, my comments, whatever I've said on this app, am I doxable to the point where they would be like, fire that?
As a black person, I mean, and when I say as a black person, I do think that black people can say more about whites than we're allowed to say about you. However, if we're to, depends on which, if you were to, for example, I think